Another one of my favorite RPGs from the 16-bit era has got to be Neverland Studios' 1995 release, Lufia II: Rise of the Sinistrals. Published by Taito in Japan and Natzoom here in North America. Now this is a prequel to Lufia and the Fortress of Doom, taking place 99 years before the events of the first game, detailing how the Sinistrals, a group of evil beings, began their rise and their attempted destruction of the human race.
So today, let's go over my thoughts on this classic and see if this is something that maybe you would enjoy.
Your adventure begins as Maxim, a monster-hunting ginger with the slick-back hair of this channel's favorite redhead, Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age. Living in the town of Elcid, you are the ancestor of the hero from the first game, Lufia and the Fortress of Doom. However, you don't need to have played the first Lufia in order to understand or enjoy Lufia 2. In fact, Lufia 1 never released in the Australian or European markets, and they got along just fine without it. You are a monster hunter by destiny, and with your recent small-town gossip of a large influx of monsters arriving in a cave near town, you of course set out immediately to investigate. In doing so, you meet a strange woman named Iris, as she explains that the recent uprising of monsters is in correlation with a recent ball of light witnessed in the skies. This is the arrival of the Sinistrals, and you must set out to destroy them, with the accompaniment of other heroes that you'll meet along your way.
The gameplay is a big standout to me. Being a traditional turn-based JRPG, the combat is kept fairly simple, with a few caveats.
With the inclusion of the standard options of attack, defend, the use of magic, and run, you also have the inclusion of Ikari power, or IP. This bar will fill up as you take damage, allowing you to engage in an enhanced attack if you are equipped with a weapon that has an IP capability. With this power, you can unleash a devastating blow, depending on how full the IP meter is at the time. Reminds me a bit of a more rudimentary version of the pet power in Dragon Quest XI, another one of my absolute favorites by the way. The same can also be said about armor and accessories that you'll find or purchase along your journey, either discovering new pieces in chests, looting fallen enemies, or by purchasing them from shops. You'll have a wide selection of weapons and armor to choose from. Just keep in mind to always check if this particular piece has an IP stat, because just like your weapons, armor can also be used in this way, typically enhanced with a curative property. So it's strongly encouraged to check out the equipment before upgrading to see if an IP stat is listed, and then equipping according to your needs and playstyle. Another battle aspect that sets this game apart is the inclusion of an AI companion to your party known as capsule monsters. These little guys act as a bonus member to your party that you'll find throughout the world in secluded regions. They will fight alongside you, giving you that extra oomph in combat, leading to an invaluable member to any battle. And the more they fight, the more experience they'll gain and can change classes or evolve based on feeding it different items that you'll discover along your way. And even though these capsule monsters are optional, I highly recommend keeping one in your party at all times. And hey, I mean, if done right, I really think that Neverland and Nintendo could do something really big with capitalizing on the whole capsule monster craze. Looking at merchandising, maybe starting up an anime TV show featuring, capsule monster trainers, and who knows, maybe a main character named something like Nash Fetchum, who even at the age of 11 is allowed by his mom to just wander around the world by himself with zero concern. I mean, really. An 11-year-old child wandered around the world and no one cared.
And this simple and straightforward approach to gameplay and combat that Lufia offers is actually very refreshing to me, because I am actually really partial to the retro-style JRPGs, mainly for the aesthetics and the nostalgia, but also because typically you aren't bombarded with multiple systems all at once. The rest of the gameplay outside of combat is also fantastic, with you and your party traveling through a traditional style overworld in the theme of, say, the Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest series at the time, with of course facing random encounters while on the map, but having no random encounters at all while in dungeons or caves. Because while in dungeons, the enemies are fully visible and only move when you move. You'll also have access to special items only available for use while in dungeons, such as bombs, a bow and arrow, and a grappling hook. These items can be used to stun enemies, activate switches, help solve puzzles, and cut through all that annoying long-ass cave grass that I just hate with all of my passion. It's in every one of these games. I don't know what the thing was, but hey, it's alright. These dungeons are also where you'll encounter many puzzles, starting out easily, lulling you into a
false sense of intellectual dominance to, oh sweet lord, I truly must be the biggest idiot of all time. And this is just where I live now. This is also a good place to use the reset spell that you obtain early on, which upon use immediately restarts the puzzle so that your torment continues. But even as difficult as some of these puzzles are, they truly are a highlight of this game, and they are very well designed. Another highlight is the sprawling roguelike dungeon called the Ancient Cave. Here you'll enter and immediately be set back to level 1 with no weapons or equipment. You'll fight your way through level after level until reaching the top. On your way you'll discover 2 types of treasure chests. The red chests are items that you can only use while inside the Ancient Cave, and will disappear as soon as you die or leave. The blue chests are treasures and weapons that you can take with you into the normal world, and then bring back on subsequent playthroughs of the Ancient Cave, as these will be allowed to be used while inside. This game within a game is a very challenging and enjoyable optional mission that definitely adds replay value and longevity for Lufia II. The graphics are of course that classic, colorful 16-bit design with some very nice character animations, whether it be in the dungeons utilizing your items or while on the combat screen. The overworld also has that beautiful nostalgic design, and again is similar to the other incredible JRPGs of that time. And part of this design is credited to Tobunari Matsumoto, who later on went on to work on games such as Neo Contra, Castlevania Lament of Innocence, and another one of my favorite games, Castlevania Aria of Sorrow. The music is also done very well, and even though it never really strays away from the basic structures that you would expect, what composer Yasunori Shiono creates is a very effective score for the game overall, with each track sounding distinct to the environment that you are currently playing through. Overall, Lufia II Rise of the Sinistrals is an incredible RPG and definitely stands out in the sea of the greats of this era, taking around 25 to 50 hours to beat, depending if you want to complete everything in the game. And even though it isn't as strong of an entry as some of the other JRPG greats, it is still a wonderful experience that I highly recommend you play through. However, the only way to currently play this may only be to emulate this classic, because at the time of filming, this game is currently going for around $260 online, unless you want to pick up a repro cartridge or something. I did find an original cartridge at the Lexington Comic-Con earlier this year, and after holding it for a couple minutes in my hands, I almost paid the vendor the $300 that he wanted for it, but I just couldn't do it. And much like the other classic RPGs that I've talked about in the past, Lufia II would make an awesome addition to the Switch online service. So hey, if later on down the road, if it does get added into that service, well then hey, you are welcome. This game was also remade for the Nintendo DS back in 2010, simply called Lufia Curse of the Sinistrals. I have never played it though, so I can't give you any of my actual thoughts on it, but from what I've heard and read, even though the majority of the original team did come back to work on it, it didn't do well at all with the original fans. But hey, if anyone out there has played the DS remake, how was it and do you recommend it? But what do you guys think? Have you ever played Lufia 2? And if so, what are your thoughts on it? Let me know in the comments below, and go ahead and stun that like and subscribe button with an arrow, and go ahead and throw a big old bomb on it. But as always guys, most importantly, thank you so much for watching, have yourself a great day, and I will see you on the next video.